starting at the North Coast Visitor Centre, previously Caithness Horizons and the old Town Hall and Carnegie Library in Thurso, and some new town centre planters in Thurso. They could be linked to spaces for people. Active Travel, a related initiative, has received a lot of negative criticism recently as a supposedly political concept. In fact, the two are valid subsections of urban planning, which change the street architecture for the better and affect a subconscious change in which we all perceive the urban environment, and making it more friendly for non-motorized users such as cyclists and pedestrians. And although admirable, if done without due care and diligence, it can have a negative effect. Seen recently in the streets of Alexandria, in the Vale of Leven, in which planters suddenly appeared. Perhaps they could have been better sited, and with the turkey red logo, but criticism was taken on board, and I think they have been relocated. But I digress. The ones which have just appeared on the Rotterdam Street are mostly or almost entirely suitable. Just a few wee adjustments that I can see, and I've had fruitful discussions with the Community Development Trust about how to make them more inclusive for people with mobility issues. Some thoughts on these ones. This two benches here. One bench is now penned in by two planters. This could create issues with people with trying to park mobility scooters or wheelchairs to one side. It would either have to be in front, which will be obstructive, or behind, which would be difficult. And this one here is probably or could be seen as obstructing the door as well. So one potential location for it would be just around here at that point there, or this flower planter around here, which is going to collapse soon, probably. There. I'm just leaving the crocuses to flower and then probably remove it. At that point we could possibly lift the snow in summer, and I think it's the lilies of the valleys and transplant them, but this one is falling apart. Going further down, it might come as a surprise to people rounding this corner and suddenly finding a planter, which they hadn't expected, but it seems to be okay. Earlier it had been a slightly bit further out, creating a potential pinch point here, directing scooters and wheelchairs so on onto the road, but I think there's sufficient space now. This planter here behind the bench seems suitable. It's not obstructing anybody. Going further down, the Red Cross shop is now closed until further notice, following the retirement of the manager, and none appointed so far. I think there should be wheelchairs and other humanitarian aid available from the local Red Cross centre, I would hope, in which case people would have to contact the regional office. These two planters here pin in this bench, which we can, as I said, unsuitable for wheelchairs or scooters to park alongside, but maybe a dozen other benches in the arcade. this one would be suitable. This one would be okay to have, I would say. Sufficient space for a scooter and so on. This bench, the planters are actually from a company called Amberol in Derbyshire, and that's the same company that I've been looking at for my fountain planters for non-edible stuff. And so I know exactly how much these planters cost, and it's quite a lot, but they're weather durable, tilt resistant, etc., and have a self-watering capillary system or capillary mesh, which adds to the expense. And I always think of this as a Battenberg cake house with Caithness phrases on the nailed into the wall. Some paint would be nice there, just cheer the place up. The old Karen Allen's old Temptations Toys building, now the current temporary interim setting of the Development Trust. No problems there with that planter. Few people would be using that walk line between it and the chemist. Seems okay with this planter as well. It's just poking around the corner, so nobody would be caught by surprise from it. And just a couple more to go. See the brackets fabricated by the Dunray apprentices some time back, which can be used for hanging baskets. Sufficient space between this bench and that planter. Last two planters. Okay. And that's the position in which I would have have my fountain planters. I've looked at two types. One's 3-tiered one for about £700, or two tiered ones for £350, paid for by £750 from the Dunray Communities Fund, and I'm also looking into match funding. So, active travels and spaces for people, and the concepts can work. Another potential source of funding is Sustrans, or nationally Sustrans, but care always has to be made when applying it. It's a special problem in the big cities in which large whole streets can be demotorized. It sounds nice, sounds green, but then people alighting from buses or driving home find long distances to walk to their home at dark, often at dark or unlit nights, which can be a very daunting experience for lone women. But nothing here that can't be solved by just pushing the planters aside quickly. Cheers.